Which mower did we use down there?
We've been, well, we take the Toro down.
The Toro, okay, so that does what, like almost a 13-foot
Yes, it's
swatch?
made for those, but without bagging, you'd have to cut it a lot. Then they wouldn't have a problem. What they have problem is the clumps.
Same thing at the Little League field and at the other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If we went over it more often, it might help.
And I know it's a labor issue on that end.
Then, you know, it's coming to a point where, I don't know, on maintenance, you know, you have to get more help, I think. Cause we have all these fields.
Yeah, and more to come.
And more coming.
Because I mean, I'm not really sure, but I know, you know, at the ball field, well, I think, I had even called him one day down here. I think Johnny came over with his walk behind, I did the infield, but it grows so fast because of water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
fertilizer, yeah.
And the problem is, I mean, he's got as many guys as he has. I mean,
Well, I think
Is-
next year I'm gonna put in for another
Summer
position
help
first.
or just
No,
one more?
or one more, full-time. Because we've come to that point.
Next year, meaning July first.
No,
The next fiscal
The
year.
next fiscal
next
year.
fiscal.
No, next.
Bob, you used to have two part-time guys, Eddie and,
I have one, that's hard to find. Yeah.
but you don't, I know we don't have Eddie anymore.
No, I have
Thank
one,
you,
still I
Eddie.
have Mike.
You still have Mike, right?
He's
Did those
coming in.
guys do a pretty good job keeping those fields?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to put the full-time people on, like the Shanahan Field. But see, that's hard.
We're gonna have a lot more down here too.
Yeah, that's gonna be, and then I have to rebuild 80 catch basins.
It is, it's a big issue, and we know it, but at the same time, we're doing what was asked at the very beginning. I mean, I started 5 years ago in this program, and soccer's been doing, you know, paying for a lot of the labor and the maintenance of the fields. And the mowing is the only thing we're asking for the town. I think that's something we really gotta address as soon as possible. I know it's on Bob, and I've told Bob that before. I mean, now we have sinkholes showing up. If you didn't know about that, we had a bunch of sinkholes just start showing up, and they're occurring a lot more often.
Is it rotting trees underground?
I think so, apparently when they did something there, or maybe it's the old foundation for the school.
Oh, could have been,
Oh, is it further back?
It's on the line, right across, if you come out, right behind where the golds are sitting now on the far end,
Sure,
if you're coming
that's
from
cool.
me.
It's when the old, that
The
wing.
addition,
The old addition, the new addition,
yeah.
cause I went to school there, so I know about where it is, I think it's something settling. So we went over, he emails me and
They came quick,
texts me, and we went over and filled it.
we filled about 3 more after that too, and we've been trying to, we left a big pile of dirt there because of that. Noonan accidentally put it in the wrong location, but, you know, we've been trying to fill them in as we go too, just as we see them, cause they've been going out about 4x4s, I mean, really
8 by
deep,
8, one's
yeah.
8 by 8.
Depression about 6 inches.
Yeah, it must be the school.
It's just occurred this year, so I'm thinking all the rain the last 2 years, maybe that's what's really doing it too.
Is there a special provision where a department head can ask to have a position added?
He puts it in his budget
I
and
mean,
meets with the firm.
without waiting for the next cycle or two.
Well, you can't, because you have to appropriate the money. We already went through town meeting.
Can't line item it from somewhere else.
You could do it in the fall if we had a fall town meeting, but usually they shy away from doing new personnel at special meetings.
Understood.
Cause right now I have 3 full-time.
Right, no, I understand, we have a problem now, you need the help now, not next year. You know, these
Because
kids,
this is-
unfortunately, that's a safety
Plus,
issue.
we have all the fields here.
And what's coming here, you know.
Now, is the cemetery back to mowing their own?
They know their own.
Okay, so that's a little bit off the plate.
Well, I really didn't do too much out
No.
there.
Well, you had the employee last year, so I figured
I
it was on
just-
you too.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, yeah, but he stayed up there. I send, I'll send someone up just before Memorial Day to help them for a couple of weeks last year, so we might have to still do that. But I think we should probably invest in another or 2 more mowers and another
Well,
person.
Does it make sense to get something with a bagger? I mean, I realize it's more work for the person.
It's a big place to bag, but
But the thing is the Little League field has the same problem, this ball field has the same problem. I don't know, I would imagine the girls' soccer has the same problem.
I think if we did it more often with that big Toro, because that's what it's made for, is athletic fields.
Now, is the Toro, does the school have the same Toro? Cause the,
Yeah, ours is
one of the
bigger,
guys that I
actually.
work on the fire department with, he said that one of the gentlemen, it's his father, said that there is a bagger for it. Now, I don't know if there is or isn't, I don't know those machines.
They have one there with a bagger, I know I've used it.
I think the Kubota maybe.
Yeah, it's the older one, I think, but they did get a new one that's got, you know, the turn-up side decks that go down, I haven't got to try that one yet.
But that one doesn't bag.
No,
With
that
the
does not
decks.
bag.
We have the ones with the decks, the big one.
Well, what blades are you using? Are you utilizing a mulching blade? For utilizing a mulching blade, you're gonna chop that up a lot better.
Yeah, but I think the problem is it grows so fast, so thick, that even, you know, when you try and mulch it, you're trying to cut down 6 inches or 4 inches.
You almost have to look at the weather pattern. If there's a lot of rain, you gotta go in there and cut it down faster
Well,
than, you
they're
can't even do it on
watering.
a schedule.
No,
Plus
you
you guys
guys-
are watering.
Irrigation
Right.
person, yeah.
You guys are watering.
Well, that's the thing too, is that's one of the primary reason why we wanted it. Bob, we got, this is Jim Pelletier, he's doing the facilities now, he's just, that's his primary position on the board, is just to manage the facilities, handle the fertilizing contract and the field itself, and he's doing a great job this year. We got Bill Santos on, which is right next door to our park, he's doing both Washington Park and Osprey Irrigation now, we switched over. And then we also have PH, right? PH currently is our fertilizing company.
Who's gonna clean the bathrooms?
Who's gonna clean the bathrooms? It's gonna be stuck to me. I've been cleaning, hey, I've been cleaning that snack shack thoroughly every week, so I have to tell you, I have no problem with it. It's a lot of fun being down there. And I mean, I have no kids on the Sunday program and I'm there for 3 hours. It's fun.
I think on the irrigation, I think it was going off during the day too much.
Mm-hmm. But we're gonna,
It was just turned on and it's set to go on
It's
every
on
other day,
rush.
half the field one time, half the field the next day. Each at about 45 minutes per zone, because it's going so long and once with an established lawn, the heavier the water, the more the roots are gonna reach, making it a stronger lawn, so.
What gallon per minute heads are you running? That sounds like a lot of water for 45 minutes.
I don't know.
Bill would
But
know
we,
it's that one.
the well company took a look at it and
Yeah.
said that
Rollins.
our refresh is no problem, we won't even go through.
No, I'm not worried about the water supply, cause I'm sure he did a good job with that. I'm just saying he put too much on.
He did a base recommendation and we just followed it because he gave us a bunch of different descriptions. The one thing that we do know is that this is in the spring towards now, from this point down to June,
We haven't turned it on yet,
right, we haven't even turned it on yet.
it's
But
been opened.
from this point till end of June is soccer season for the spring. Then after that, we don't have to cut it as much because you just need it sharp for the kids to play because it's really hard to play in long grass.
And we were gonna ask to have the decks raised to something
In the
around
summer.
3 to 3.5, which would make it easier for you.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying I wanted to try to get a plan together instead of just, piecemealing to Bob and then him having to answer me on the weekends and
Well,
trying to work it out.
The plan seems to be that, Bob is gonna present the board with, just hiring additional help. What do we do in the interim? Cause you have a month left,
Well, he could draw up a plan
you
now,
know?
for
Okay.
now, Joe,
Alright,
and give it to me and we'll.
alright. Just to finish off the next 4 or 5 weeks.
The other thing I know that, I've heard the Little League guys talking about, if they just had a mower with a bagger down there, maybe they'd take it on themselves, but the mower that we had bought for down here, that got sold.
They don't know the size of the field based on, and
Yeah,
one
I
of those
know.
guys sitting there, that'll take them 6 hours on a
Yeah.
small mower. I mean, we would attempt it, we actually discussed buying a 72-inch mower, we all started laughing, because 72 inches, I'm gonna be there for 6 hours. And I don't have any place, Jim's gonna be really happy with all the
It
grass
actually goes
being
a
put on
lot
the fence.
faster
Yeah.
than you think on a
Yeah.
small like that.
Most athletic fields though, they just use that, like that Toro we have, they don't bag it,
Yeah, and they do it often,
but you have to do it often.
Right, and a slower drive speed does make a difference too.
So what days are your most people on the fields? Cause I was gonna say.
Tuesdays and Thursdays is the busiest 2 days, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Mondays, like today, I only had my team, there's no team on the U10 field right now, cause we shrink down in the spring a little bit. But we try to condense it as much as we can and go stagger it up, the hours, but it's tough. But, yeah, Mondays is probably the lightest day. Mondays and Wednesdays.
What days do they mow? I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my
I
head,
think we used to
Monday
go
and
there on
Friday.
Thursday.
Thursday because of the weekend, I've asked Bob for
But
that.
it might be that one of those fields that you have to mow twice a week.
Well,
You
it's
know,
on one-
it almost like it overlaps into another week.
Right, if it was Monday, Friday, then maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what, but that's getting a lot of.
I know, that's a lot of activity.
And you're going into the summer too, right? You have summer programs?
We just have the one summer camp program that we're gonna talk about in a little bit, I'm sure.
When does that happen? August?
18th through the 21st.
Of
I
August?
got the binder to Nancy.
Of August or?
Busy.
Yeah.
18
And we
to
have paid for, cuts on our own too, additional cuts to
The bag it.
bag it. We have done that.
If we had the equipment, is it possible to have a volunteer fill in for this year?
I don't think we can do that.
You can't insurance-wise, we've already
Right.
tried to address that, because even if we bought
'Cause I
one,
know in Merrimack-
we're on town property trying to cut, and the insurance
Now,
piece, 'cause we
Merrimack,
actually
you've got
talked
two
about that piece.
volunteers at Merrimack that have been doing it for years, and I don't know how that's set up, but
They might have just.
I know they helped me with my
grandfathered
kids.
it somehow.
How does, yeah, you can get away without bagging though if we cut it more often
That's
with
right.
that big.
Correct.
That sounds like the way to go.
Oh,
I think so
bagging
too.
would be, oh,
you're adding more labor.
Yeah.
Those are the two options that we all know, it's either you
Mow
bag it or
more
you do it
often.
twice.
And
twice a week.
mulching blades,
Mulching blades
mulching
and more
blades will
often.
absolutely make a difference.
yeah, I
And
know.
No
speed.
doubt,
Speed.
absolutely make a difference.
And Jim's right, cause not all that, Shanahan's almost pretty level, but if you're going too fast, you're bending, you're bending and twisting, so the blades, the grass get twisted a little bit.
If you're having hyper growth, can you dial in the time a little bit yourself, maybe experiment and go down to
We can put
35
a, we
minutes?
can put a growth inhibitor on the whole thing, but it's expensive.
Oh, okay,
They actually sell growth inhibitor, you can take out, well, you spray it around
yeah.
like stone or anything where weeds come up and it.
But I'm saying if you dial in-
Completely restricts the growth, doesn't grow any.
I'm saying if you-
You think you can get it at the depot?
Yeah, donation. I'm saying if you dial in 30 minutes or 35 per zone instead of 45 minutes.
Yeah, we're willing to try different things,
Just for
absolutely.
yourself, just to
Yeah.
maybe slow it down.
They
a little
said
bit.
that some of my help said there was too much water on
Yeah,
it.
just dial it in yourself. see what
It might have
feels
been too early, you
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it should be going off at.
I know I've done that at home with my
3 in the
irrigation
morning
system.
or 4 in the
Yeah.
morning.
I hate to cut the lawn, I actually have, we restricted the timing and the volume.
Yeah,
So,
It took me 3 years to figure it out.
so we're good with, we'll talk directly to Bob and try to work out a plan and then let you guys know, you guys and girls know.
Yeah, but
what's
just
going on.
realize that he does have 80 catch basins to do,
And streets,
and streets.
if we can get it
And-
funded.
153 streets, but that's, you gotta get, but that's not the only field, it's this down here.
It's all of them.
This is gonna be over, a lot of things are gonna happen at the end of this month.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
why
scares the hell out of me.
Probably I should have addressed it.
It's gonna be
this
almost like
year.
another Bagnell school where we're gonna be calling the highway department for this
the
and
other
that.
thing
We don't
that
have
would,
that right now.
keeping with baggers is, once you have a bagger, you have to figure out where you're gonna put all of that
Well,
too.
he can take it back to the highway garage, but then you gotta load it up into the,
Yeah, that's
a
another
lot.
Yeah,
addition.
because you have to
to it.
disposal and transportation on that
The
as
only
well.
place that gets bagged is Elm Park, and I hired that out
Hmm.
to a landscaper, he does it.
Yeah.
But that's the only place we bag, is Elm Park, but it's his equipment.
Right, he takes it.
That soccer field's huge, that would be.
Yeah.
Of course,
You can't dump that on the side.
You gotta do it with that, the triplex, the Toro we have, but it has to be done more often.
I should've never got rid of my 6-foot deck for the tractor, but I
Right,
never used
yeah.
it.
At least,
Now that you're going into retirement. you
Right.
can-
I do have a 5-foot rototiller, I could
Some
just wipe it out.
places. I mean,
We're
eventually,
looking for it.
Betty,
No,
it's
but
not a retirement, it's a
eventually-
sabbatical.
Sabbatical, yeah.
eventually what could be done is the town to invest in a big vacuum, you know? That's golf courses have them,
Now, would you be able to pull it behind that Toro?
a tractor, no,
You'd have to
another
have a
tractor.
tractor.
Is that a very expensive
Yeah,
item?
it's the cost, but with all these fields, it
We
probably
need it.
has to be done eventually.
We'll put that on our list.
It's not, they don't call it a vac, it's sort, I said it that way so everyone will understand.
It's like a goat.
You think you'd come back to the next meeting then, with a plan?
I think we can talk,
Yeah, you can just
get
do
something
it.
going, yeah.
And if you need something, you'll have to come back to the board.
No, we probably should, you know, I can, you know, all this, everything that people want in the town, it's just gonna cost money now.
We have needs and we have wants,
Maintenance, yeah, maintenance,
but the vacuum, with all the fields and everything that's being developed, sounds like
there's gonna be a lot of
that's what we
fields,
need.
but
We
This
just,
place down here, but it takes a lot of
I
activity too.
can imagine.
Just the one thing is, I know it's gonna take cost and everything, but we are putting a lot of money in it already. I can't go and try to turn around and up my fees just to try to increase something else when I think there's 3 or 4 programs in town, and these fields are the town fields. So, I mean, we gotta, I mean, you guys have been doing great, we've been working fine with the mowing piece. It's just we have to figure out a solution that's gonna work out, that fields will still look great. We're not wasting our money and you're not wasting the time of mowing the fields for, you know, so it's a compromise and all around, and we totally understand. I mean, we're just talking about, you know, overtime kind of thing, trying to figure out that if we could find another way to find money, but I just, you know, right now it's just tough, the economy all the way around. We understand that, we're just trying to get a plan together. We're not asking for anything out front, we're just trying to figure out things.
Well, I think if you, right after the fertilizing gets done, if you back off a little bit on the watering, maybe go to, you know, 15 minutes on a zone, see how that works, and then maybe step it up as the time frame opens up. You may find that it won't grow quite as fast.
I mean, you and Bill
No,
will work on that.
Yeah, we'll have to dial it in. Yeah.
You know,
This
'cause
is
granted,
Bill's
I-
first time on the field,
Right.
and it's the first time that the field has really had any kind of fertilization, you know, real fertilization.
And what we're talking about, the 2 times a week, just so you know, Bob, for the spring, it's about, if you did 2 times a week, it would probably be 6 weeks from now. From this point on, twice a week, 6 weeks. And then in the fall, it goes until, from September all the way till the end, November 1st. So that's the time, that's where it's really gonna crunch you, is in the fall. But I think the next 6 weeks, if we can figure out, but we'll work it out. If you guys are okay with, we'll work directly with, maybe Jim can work directly with Bob and try to figure out a plan.
Well, you can work it out and have a plan. My suggestion still is, not that we would have to vote on it, but just bring it to the board, let us know, so that it's public. Because people are gonna come towards us in the next several weeks, next several months, asking for a lot of things.
Yep.
So it's good that it's all publicly disclosed at open meetings, that baseball wanted this, and basketball wanted this, and soccer
Yep.
wanted that. Otherwise, we're operating in silos,
Yeah,
and
that's
we
fine.
and we overcommit resources, and then we can't come back. So
Absolutely.
it wouldn't require an approval, it's just a method of disclosing openly.
And just remember, we don't have resources, he's the only.
No, I know.
one that has any.
How are
As
you?
long as we're aware of it. So if you do a plan, it's good for us to see it.
Move over there, be one of the
It's an extra meeting, an extra night.
I got enough things on my plate.
You know what happens?
Couple of years.
People say, oh, I didn't know that, oh, I heard that the soccer people did this, and, you know, so let's get it all out in the open, so we know.
Just so you know, Joe, we talked, baseball was actually gonna meet
You
up.
guys
with us at a
collaborate
certain
well,
point,
I know that.
And we were gonna team up and come in, but
Paperwork.
they had an issue with the field, so they asked you to come down to the field
We
recently,
did, we
last
met
year.
them,
did.
Yeah.
last, I don't know how long ago.
Last
We
quite a
do a
while.
lot of walkthroughs and walk-bys.
So
Right.
they jumped the gun a little bit,
Drive-bys
but
too,
they
so.
needed to, they had an issue.
It's
Good.
just that as long as everyone knows, this is, eventually, with all these fields,
We're gonna need more.
and I know the town, you know, everyone wants to have
Parks and Recreation.
parks and rec, but it's eventually, it's gonna be, more people.
More people in your department
Yeah.
run it, yeah.
That's what
And
it's
more
gonna
equipment.
come to, or you might have to go to, bidding it out, but that,
We might have to do that.
The other
Might-
thing is if you
somebody
keep
else's
having
queries.
holes just show up on the field, eventually it might be a safety hazard down there.
Yeah, we're watching.
yeah, he
For what time
texts
did you say?
me,
They have sinkholes that are just showing up on
Yeah,
the field.
yeah.
So, I mean,
We're
if that's the
monitoring.
case, eventually you
Shannon?
might have to
Yep.
shut the field down.
We've been monitoring, everything seems to be fine right now, we haven't had in a couple weeks, but we've been watching them. When I told Jim about it too, so, cause he's there, so he can take a look at, on his end, cause there might be something inside there too, I think it's mostly because of drainage and what was there and the existing from the past, and I think for the most part, I think most of them are all set, but thankfully, it hasn't been happening truly on the field. There's one that had a depression did occur, and we're gonna work on that one, but it's, not bad,
Yeah.
so.
Hopefully.
So that was that one from Mr. Killian. The other ones were just our, requests, field requests from, there was like 3 outstanding ones that we submitted, and I just wanted to know what the, status
Was
is.
the, August 18th,
Yep, that was one.
the, 4th of July, change, but you had talked to Erin when she was here one day by herself, and she explained it wasn't a new time for holding the event, but
Just setting up.
just setting up earlier, right? If I
Yep.
remember correctly?
Because we needed, last time we said we had to include the whole time.
Right, so that's why the change was on that one.
What was the
And then
18th?
the other one,
What is the 18th?
18th is the fall, is it the fall?
August
program?
18th through 21st is the camp
Oh,
one.
the camp, yeah.
And we have the cost goes through our website, we actually work with them, it's a fundraising event that we do. We've been doing it with Seacoast for 4 years now. They supply the coaching, the staffing for it, and we've had over 70 kids every time they've agreed, and they already sent the insurance binder in. So you saw the insurance binder, they've always had insurance, but we never submitted it before, so that
But
one's been done.
wasn't our issue that somebody else was making money on our fields?
It's,
It was
like I
because
said,
of how we had it set up.
Yeah.
It went through them.
So
it's
now
going
it's
through our
not-
website.
So it's going through you, your,
It's going through our
your
website
crew.
completely,
No,
yep.
so it's Groveland Youth Soccer.
Yep.
It's on your insurance,
Mm-hmm.
so then that's all that matters, I believe.
Is that considered a nonprofit?
Yes, we are a nonprofit and so aren't they, so, but we pay for their coaching, that's what we pay.
501c
Yep.
organization.
Denise
I-
didn't have any issues on that, did she? Cause she wants us to take a good look at a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think the issue that was that we've denied other people from holding camps and doing it where they're making an income, so I think that was the issue. So,
It
I,
was,
yeah, so
because we're-
provided it's not being done through somebody else's, you know, I would say that we can grant that one.
And then the
If you guys are okay with it.
And then the last one was the use of the fields
Pines.
off of the pines
For,
Fall.
for the fall.
I mean, like soccer on the Babe Ruth field,
What we've been doing for the last 20-some odd years.
you haven't stopped yet?
No.
The
It's just
concern
good.
was the dates of people asking for the Babe Ruth field this year.
Yeah.
I believe that's what.
That was what the concern was, so I don't really know at this point, did they ask for those dates?
They haven't gotten back to me yet.
What was the dates?
We
Um,
go every Saturday from September 6th all the way till November 1st. We withdraw from the date for Speedway and Groveland Day, we always had it. What we started doing. it in
What time are you
conjunction with-
done?
We start at 9 o'clock in the morning and go until 1 or 2.
8 to 1 it says.
Yeah,
And,
8 to 1.
You
So
said
it's
through
good.
November 8th, Steve.
Yeah, I put November 8th in there because in case of a rain date, we had that one extra day in there, Saturday.
Were those the dates that Billy Beaton,
That's what no, they were talking this summer, they were talking,
just a summer program?
summer program.
Through July.
I think it starts
Okay.
May
Alright.
15th.
They worked out all those schedules.
Yeah.
That was an amazing
worked.
puzzle, yeah.
They're done in July. I think, I don't see where that would interfere,
No, it won't.
because most times with, Babe Ruth or, you know, baseball play on those fields, it's on Sunday.
If it changes with us, I mean, we'll let you know, but I think that's the dates that we've always required. I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years, it's been the same ones.
But you're not going on the softball field anymore.
No, we're not doing the softball field, we've worked.
He knows better.
No,
I know,
because we got booted off by, the adult league,
Oh, okay.
but
Are
no.
people walking their dogs on our nice fields down there?
Not when I'm down there, they're not, but.
In every, let's just say every, field in town, I've seen
That's
dogs.
happening. Yeah, Washington Park, I've seen people out there.
I
too.
am.
Yeah, I just ordered 10 signs, so.
You did?
Oh, you
No
did?
dogs on fields,
Oh, good, you're gonna put them on softball and Babe Ruth field?
everywhere.
I'll cancel that order then.
You got more signs?
I-
Yeah,
We're gonna have
We
a lot
just
more
proved it,
fields
we
now.
didn't,
Oh,
we didn't say
okay.
yes yet, so that's
I
perfect.
ordered them off last week though.
I mean, for the most part, people are they bring a little market basket bag and pick up their poop, but they just shouldn't be on there.
No, it's still on the grass, because we
Right.
could tell with the mowers,
Of course you can, yeah.
it's still on the
And-
grass.
And after the
Why
snow
don't they do
melted,
the doggy park?
So they had a place to bring the dogs.
And how come, wouldn't do that?
But they don't pick up in there, and then they don't want their dogs in there.
Oh, is that what it is?
Really, that's what
well,
I've been told.
There's a lot
it's
of
turned
dog-
into a
well,
dust
it's too
bowl
dirty to be
because
in.
all the grass is gone. So, and then this winter, you guys know that the sheet of ice formed and somebody fell and got hurt, so they started using the softball field, so when the snow melted, had to pick up all kinds of fun things.
Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, as a matter of fact, I went down there and kicked people off, as a woman was walking
was
off,
a
she
lot.
fell down on the ice, it was on the softball field, I'm like, what are you guys doing, this is town
So
property.
may wanna consider getting a sign next year. Dog park is only open during certain times of the year,
Yeah, it shouldn't be open during the winter, I totally agree with that.
cause it's
Yeah,
probably
I
a bad
agree with
idea.
that.
It just turns to a sheet of ice.
Yeah.
You know, they shouldn't be on, nobody should be on any of our fields in the wintertime.
That's the first I was wondering why there was so many problems on the field.
We could put a gate at Pines Rec when we do that,
Okay.
the meeting, maybe do something like that for the winter, close it.
Yes, it's a good idea.
Close the whole park in the winter.
I have no place to live.
Just kidding.
You've got a
You do.
four-wheeler,
I didn't
just
see
ride it
making
down.
Well, you got trails Marston Landing, you got some trails there that can be
Okay.
used.
And I have talked to Denise, she actually called me and we've been working out, we all set today.
Yeah, she wants to know about the tank, the water tank, what kind of model, and I
Okay,
said,
no
whatever
problem.
they,
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Is that on the restrooms?
Yeah, the restrooms, they closed in the bid on Wednesday, so
Good.
worked out good.
Yeah, I did hear people say they were marching around down those nice fields with their dogs.
Yeah, it's not
Very
good. Well, like I
good.
said,
So-
when I had to play right field, it was disgusting out there. You know, and the dog park was already there.
That wasn't a good spot for the dog park.
if
We can
people don't
move it,
like
can't
it,
we?
it's not.
It shouldn't even be down there.
It's very irritating during, there was a dog fight yesterday during the fifth, sixth grade game, I'm like,
Who won?
Actually, a good spot.
My team.
The cement spot down there, if they dug out that cement area, they could do it right in that spot. I've been looking for something to do over in that spot. That-
Cement spot?
oh,
Yeah,
near the
right in
water.
front of the tower.
Where the skateboard park was.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the
That's a
88
little
skateboard
soccer
park.
field there.
No, behind it is, I'm
That's
saying, if
why-
you
I
dug up
thought
that
we put
cement.
two soccer fields here to keep you off the baseball and the softball.
No, it's just because we have so many people. We have over 100 in just one age group during that time frame. We've spread it out. That's the problem is as we spread it out at the time frame, it's still taking us most of the day. It's the biggest group in town. I mean, we have over 350 kids in the fall. We have 250 in the spring. I think we're still,
When would they be able to use the end field down there?
the big one, I'd love to.
Probably not till late in the fall.
That's a fine with me. I can get right off that Babe Ruth field. Trust me, you're not gonna get an argument.
Oh, that's why, whose equipment's in that shack?
Well, that's gotta come out of it. Is that empty?
The trailer, it's just about empty, there's a few baseball bases.
Yeah, the Babe Ruth uses that, or Kentucky baseball uses it too.
Yeah, we gotta get it cleaned out, we're ready to take that out.
You are?
Yeah.
Where?
That's the only thing I think they left.
Tomorrow.
Well, there's no room in the cement shed, it's full of softball stuff and
There's
ATVs.
no room at all in the cement shed?
Absolutely, no. I mean, the rec committee was considering building a new softball-only one, cause I know that shed's gonna be converted to a bathroom snack shack,
No,
correct?
no, the bathroom's,
Bathrooms up here.
up this way,
Oh,
near the
okay.
playground.
Okay.
Where the handicap parking is, I think the last plan I saw, right? In that spot, that
It's
parking.
right in
part.
there, yeah.
The only thing we have to move it, we'll have to, because it's, if they're
You
ready.
can't move that thing. That's a disaster, just
Yeah.
knock it
Oh, no, it
down.
needs to be ripped down, it's
You
full of
can rent a
mice
Conex
and,
box or something?
and stuff, so.
There's,
They'll have to get a temporary box.
yeah, the trailers are about $45 for a full-size trailer, so you know, a month. I mean, you can get a pretty cheap trailer.
Yeah, they can put it right down next to the baseball field.
Sheehan and them have them up in, Salisbury area.
Yeah, so they use it football down in Strawberry Field, sort of thing.
I know Little League just.
Until you figure it out, cause and they might have a plan, an idea.
Who's gonna rent it though? Who rents it?
That's a problem. I mean, if they need it, they'll have to pay for it.
Well, the high school has to pay for it.
Yeah.
They're gonna use it.
So that's nothing in there, the softball or anything is in there. It looked like all
So I won't
baseball.
do
It's all baseball. Frank Barrett for the freshman team and the JV coach used that and
Yeah.
Robin
So
McKeon.
this one was okay, right?
Right,
July
these are
third.
the ones you
He
just
does the
bought.
Babe Ruth, so.
All right, because I was in there the other day, because we have to unhook the electricity and
Okay.
rip it out.
Yeah, we.
Do you have a connection to Bob Danforth?
Yeah.
Do you have him in your phone?
I don't think so, but I can.
If you call Bob Danforth, tell him that that trailer down here is gonna be disposed of. Let his baseball people, coaches know that they need to get their stuff out, and they have until 2:00 tomorrow. Cause at 3, the Dozers heading over that way.
Well, they can put it in the softball shed for.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, for now, you
Can't
know,
be
I'll
that-
just clean it up a little more, I mean,
You
the
can shout
varsity
out
does
on
all their
TV,
stuff
Bob.
in there.
Why, is that too much time?
9 AM.
No, there'll be more storage area when the new building built down there, but for now.
Storage goes away very quickly, Bob, very quickly.
When you say new building, what does this new building consist of?
Dan's all excited, museum.
It's gonna have heat, it's cold down there in the winter.
Restrooms, and then there's an addition to that other building.
Okay.
Need heat for in the
Who's
winter.
now on that recreation committee for the Pines Rec?
Pines Development.
Pines Development, is there any openings, cause I would like to be on
No, we don't want you.
I understand, I understand that,
It's very
absolutely,
risky,
Don.
'cause he's only got one hour left.
I got an hour to go.
He's working that one, he's working that one.
That's good. That's,
It'll be longer
There
than
are
2
not any
hours.
vacancies.
Am I not supposed to be honest?
Are there any vacancies, Nancy?
No.
No.
On your last date, be as honest as you want.
You had one too many people last year.
On our committee?
yeah.
Now, right now, we've got Bob, myself, John Raffel, Betty,
Yeah.
Pam?
and Pam. You're still on that with us, right?
And Greg was on.
And
Greg was
Greg
on, but I
yeah.
don't know what his,
Greg and Bill Dock, but Bill was gone.
Right.
So there are 2 openings.
No.
no, we filled one. We had one too many.
Don't you have enough to do?
That one I want in on. That one I'll make time, I'll find a solution.
You're too shy.
Isn't that the case?
All right, so those ones, we're okay.
We're okay with those, all right?
I think that.
But I'd
we're good with
prefer,
soccer stuff, right?
I'd prefer that you find a way to get off the only Babe Ruth field we have, as soon as you can.
If that's the case, if you want us to do that, then we can go to option B for us, and that's completely stay at Shanahan.
You can do that?
Come on.
If I do that, you're gonna deal with the problem.
Well, he won't.
Would
No, I
that
don't.
be,
The solution that we had before was perfect. You
Here's
had a
our-
break between the games, and the place doesn't overfill with cars. It worked.
Here's our solution on this one, but now you're talking about a lot of kids.
Smaller.
We were thinking about this one for the last month or so, we've been trying to conjure up something, because we had to come up with plan B just in case something else happened down the Pines. We can go in, on the U12 field that's currently with our older group, we can do a 9 to 10 with our pre-K and kindergarten group, and then allow the older group to come in at 10:30 start, which would give a half an hour spread between them. Have our U10 teams going from 9 o'clock in the morning till finishing at 1, which is 4 games on that field. And then at 1:30 to, that would be, this is where you're gonna have your problem, is the 1:30 to 2:45 piece is where our U8s would come in, and our
Hundreds
U8s
of
will be
cars
about
down.
150 kids in one grouping.
This is for the fall.
But you still have the 2 small fields that we put in. I
Right.
mean, how many does
But I
that
have
take,
I have
how many does
equipment.
that pull away though?
But I have equipment. That's my issue. I can't spread my equipment out. My equipment has to be in one place or the other.
But how did you do it before when we?
I
put
always
the
had all
field?
my equipment down there for the pre-K through 2nd grade. I can split the equipment from my U10 and my pre-K through 2nd grade, because pre-K through 2nd have this size ball and this size equipment, and my U10 have this size equipment.
But let me ask this, why do they all have to only do it on Saturday?
Why they only have to do it on Saturday? Because we have always done it on Saturdays and it works out best.
We used to always meet on Mondays, but we could meet on Tuesdays.
He gets it.
You know, I mean, things can change.
They can, and that's what we're saying.
Does soccer do damage to the field in there? I mean,
No, it's just, we've only got one, just like we had the one softball field. You know, everybody was trying to vie for the field use, and then we had kids that had to go play Babe Ruth out of town. You know, they had to go other places.
Did Babe Ruth just Groveland, or?
No, a lot of times there was, we used to get a team together, like in the Haverhill Senior League,
Mm-hmm.
there was always either one or two Kentucky group kids that, you know, they got teams in them.
Mhm.
So it was always nice to have a place to either go practice or to play. You know, the Haverhill fields aren't, you know, what we have.
But it's the fall, I mean, the fall's not baseball season primarily,
Well,
now they're
fall-
doing fall ball.
I've been playing 10 months of baseball.
I know,
last
now they've been
several
recently,
years.
Well, why, looking at the corner field, Bob, you said not ready till the late fall.
I'm
I mean, it's
thinking-
just little kids on it, I mean, is it gonna be construction there still? Cause from what I understand, it's done in August.
We should be pretty close.
And those two small fields, just so you know, Donnie, as much as I respect the guys that did it, and it was really nice that you guys did it quickly, they are so uneven and dangerous with ankle biters all over the place. So unless you're gonna go and try to grade them better, I really don't wanna go on there as much as I possibly can, an hour and
Remember the
15
one
minutes.
down next to the softball field, you know, where we have that big area?
That little area,
That's the one I'm talking about. yeah.
Is that grass already?
Yeah, it's.
almost that whole big side of the field, but you have so much
But is it
construction.
better there than over here? Yeah, but the construction's gonna be more up this way.
Yeah, it is better there, cause it's level, and what they
Yeah, they
basically
could
do,
use that.
prove me wrong, Bob, but they put down what's called like a rye grass, just to hold the,
Yeah.
it's not fully planted, it's not irrigated, but it, you know, if they mow it, it'd be fine, I guess.
We've been mowing it
Okay.
a little bit, but
It's, the grass is not good
Yeah,
over
the
there.
grass
It's
is
not
not.
something you can play on.
what,
And then,
the deal with with the contractor is he's just supposed to get the fields
In place.
in place and,
How's that been draining all that?
Nice.
you know,
Really good.
not then we'd have to come in, maybe top dress it, slit seed it, you know,
Yeah.
and get it to a point where you can do an athletic.
I mean, does Babe Ruth wanna use that field in the morning on Saturday mornings? Cause
Again, nobody has been fighting for it
So-
to this point, but right now, I mean, there's a group, the Newburyport Nationals team. has-
Okay.
They plan on Sundays and I think Thursdays, they're trying to get time down there, which is biting into the, you know, the regular Babe Ruth schedule. So, I mean, eventually, it's gonna be more of a load, I would think.
Yeah,
People
and that,
trying to-
but the next year, the field, because what happened last time, like 4 years ago, the adult softball league, I remember there was a big argument over taking that field over at softball, and I can tell you, they were never, ever down there on a Saturday morning.
Well,
That
they
field was
were-
always empty.
There were a couple times when they tried to run over a couple of kids.
Well, but I mean, they weren't using
We
that
all
field.
heard about it several
so
times.
It was, you know, I mean, again, I think it probably will be solved in a year when that other field is open up.
I think we'll just play it by ear, I mean, I'd rather do, to be honest, I'd rather stay at the Pines and just have my whole group, but then that brings us over with all of our equipment in
Yeah, I
the
mean,
fall.
for the time being, I don't see a problem. Saturday morning, I mean, worst case, they can start playing at 1:30 in the afternoon. They have plenty of time to get a game or two in,
Mhm.
so it's not a big deal.
Good. I think we're all set then, right?
And then we'll get into like a
Because we already
top
signed and
dressing
gave you
program.
permission. I should mention that.
What did you say, Bob? Not to get into a top dressing.
We're gonna need a few
program.
beers.
All right, is that all we had?
That's it.
Or is
I mean,
there more
I-
abuse? What else we got?
I'm done with abuse right now, I don't wanna be abused anymore.
You handle it well.
All right, and then,
Oh, so when's our first cut? When's our first cut?
We have to work it out, Bob.
Oh,
The cut, we've been there and cut
Yeah,
this off.
he cut it on Friday, right? I think they cut it
Oh,
on Friday
okay.
for us, yeah, I called and asked for it.
he was thinking around June 1st.
I gotta play the next 2 weeks, it's gonna be really low.
All right, we had a scheduled meeting at 6:50, sorry about that, with the rec committee. About Groveland Day, that we don't
Yes,
know
and
how bad
actually,
it's.
this is the Groveland Day Committee, we're not all rec people.
Okay, all right. So, what is it? We're still not really sure as far as where the construction will be going down here, but I think if it's staying over on this side, we probably had enough space from last year, correct? Although we had fire department down a ways, and over here, or was that some other thing?
The only thing the fire department did down the far end was the,
They
egg drop,
put-
because you know, but
That can go anywhere.
yeah, we can figure it out once everything's laid out, that's something we can do last minute, and I can work with Kurt and company, whoever volunteers that day to do it.
What about the cow?
We need to move them closer,
If you want to.
we need to move them closer.
Babe Ruth Field, I heard is open.
You're out of there, so we can, I say we table this until next week.
Oh, the seat's not even warm, Donnie.
I just had to get you back once.
He's like, motion to close the meeting?
I wasn't listening, so go ahead.
They wanted to put this off till the next meeting, and- which is probably smart.
So not for you.
You can show up, it's open to the
I can
public.
come to that.
Right.
I don't know which side we want you on.
So what is it, I mean, as far as the liquor thing, is that what you're still looking for?
That and a checklist, we don't wanna end up in a bind like we did last year, running around to the Board of Health and everything, we'd like to know what you want from us up front.
Let me see if it's all in here.
It might be. We just approved the special event permit guideline tonight. Finally, we went through it. It might have everything that was
Actually, this is
represented.
everything that would be required, right?
Yeah, I
Except, I'm
think
not sure, does it have on the food, you have to go to Board of Health, I think it does. Yeah. So, maybe you do wanna put it off for a couple of weeks and get a copy of what we approve, go through it and see if you still have any questions, you may not even wanna discuss it.
I think you'd wanna review it so you can, well, not review it, but go through the list so we can give you information back, right?
Right.
Cause we can't really give you anything back until we make sure
Yeah,
we did it all.
we just reviewed it, we just approved it
Right.
tonight,
Is there a-
with an attachment, which is not in here, so we have to release it to the public.
Is it a lengthy document? I mean, is it
It is.
bullet points?
This is just a small version, there's 700 pages.
He really is old.
Sounds like a
This
lot.
This is a condensed version.
The Cliff Notes,
I'll come in every week, you like me.
Yeah, the actual checklist is one page,
Okay.
the actual checklist itself.
Does it
Yeah.
mention food and liquor on?
It has everything,
And,
yeah.
and
It really has everything.
can we, I guess, talk about the liquor, cause I guess
Well-
that's the biggest stumbling block?
Well, that
Permit.
might be the thing you don't wanna talk about, cause on the attachment, basically the way that worked, I mean, personally, I don't know why you would wanna ask us again where someone got caught passing beer off to a minor last year. I mean, to me, that would be like, I think I'd just leave that one alone, I wouldn't even talk about it again, but I know that isn't gonna happen. So, in the guidelines on the attachment, it looks as though, like if you have 0 to 100 people, you're gonna need 2 detailed police officers. If it goes from 101 to 200, it looks like you need 4.
That's in the actual guidelines.
It's in the guidelines?
Yeah, you don't
Okay.
need that attachment.
You know, so you were saying at the last meeting, you were thinking 400 to 500 people, because last year was pretty
Mhm.
big. You're gonna
You
probably
got-
need,
How many was last year?
We were over 300, 350 people.
so, I mean, you're probably looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 detail officers.
Now,
at
here's
that
the
time.
thing.
At the nighttime, there was that many people.
Right, the question I have for you is, now, who came up with the number and details? Was that a police officer group that did it, or
No,
was it
actually,
internal town?
Denise,
Our new
our
town.
new finance director,
Mhm.
did some research,
Other
Good.
communities.
talked to, communities, talked to, I believe, the insurance
Insurance
people,
agency.
And also spoke to the police,
and the police, oh, she did speak to the
There you
police
go.
department.
Dwight,
That's great.
Dwight and,
And,
Dwight's gonna be really happy with that number, I mean.
Well, it sounds like you're gonna have all of our policemen and maybe half of Haverhill. You know, so,
Think you, one of them check IDs, cause I really get sick of checking IDs.
I know we were thinking of doing it, like an in and out, so that only people in were the wristband people, and you can't go out.
but see, what I'm saying is,
No.
they observed somebody walking with a couple of the cups over and handing them outside of the inn.
So the system worked, because they were there to deter it, that's what we paid them for.
So they didn't stop the
No,
person?
I'm not
I
gonna- we
don't, I don't
need to-
believe that they were able to catch them, that was the thing.
No, they
saw-
did.
Oh, they did catch
Yeah,
them?
because
Okay.
they actually stopped the whole situation. They saw him walking over. And then, and the only time I was aware of that whole situation is when we came in. And, you know, we talked to, like I said, I talked to both sergeants, and, because one of them was there that night, and they said it was a fabulous event, and that they had no, that was a very minor thing that they, you know, that kid's known to do things stupid before, and that they were there for that reason, and they think the event went well. That's what they said to us in the meeting in November when we were all in the room. You can ask Sergeant McDonald, I mean, him and I had a conversation, and he said publicly to me, said that it's a great event, great idea, it's a good thing, it's a very good event. So he thinks it's a great way, but you've gotta get it from him, that's just me telling you what he said.
Well, no, again, though, I mean, I really think you'll wanna review the documents.
Absolutely.
And there's gonna be a new person sitting here. It probably is not the right thing for me to do, to yay or nay anything that's happening to do with that, because I won't be sitting here when it happens.
Yeah, so, I respect that. I think that's a good, we need to see it anyways, I think it's a good idea.
If we get a release to you, maybe, we can have it, a discussion on May 19th, next meeting.
Okay.
I mean, you've got till
That's her,
September,
she's the
right?
boss. I just
Yeah.
help.
When is our next one?
Our meeting is May 21st.
I think some suggestions, from an insurance standpoint is whoever the vendor is, they must supply the town with a certificate of insurance naming them as additional insured and all the language that goes with that. I think it needs to be completely enclosed, not loose like it was last year. And I think it should be limited to 250 people tops. I don't think we should hit a 400 or 500 number. I don't, if that makes you upset or not, but I don't, I see that as a safety issue, having way too many people to try to control.
You're not offending me at all, I mean, it's the event, I
Well,
think
I
it's a
mean-
great
Right.
event.
Selling tickets in advance.
Yeah,
And I
well,
think
look,
a lot
that's
of
what I'm
people
saying,
just
more
came to
controlled
eat.
environment and making sure that the people serving are ServSafe certified. If there's any notification of somebody intoxicated, they absolutely shut them off, and you have to leave the area. You can't leave the area with cops, and the police officers have to be right there at the gate. You can't step over the gate, and, you know, so we'll have to spend some money on a
Well,
fencing issue.
no,
I think,
my initial idea was, it
Tennis
would
court.
be inside the softball field. The fence, I know, your field, I'm sorry.
no, that's all right, I pick
But,
it up every day.
I mean, it was only gonna be people.
Yeah, that's fine, I think that's a good idea. No
That
cows?
was- I like that comment. He's
We're
moving
not
on
gonna,
to
we
the
have a
fruit
cow
field to
tipping
cow.
contest in there too, I heard.
But, right, no cows on your field, that field.
It's fully enclosed, that's not a bad idea.
I'd really rather see the cow out the road there to see if it goes faster with the cows coming.
I'm thinking behind the Babe Ruth field, that little pitch area, that was actually, I think that's closer and that would be better behind it.
We could
'Cause
do
then we
it in
use the
softball
fence.
field if you
Yeah, I think
want.
we were gonna enclose that for the movie theater for the kids, but it didn't work
Right,
out, so I think that's a great idea.
But
Like
but if it
just,
was
you know,
inside the softball field area, there's lights.
There's lights and there's
Right.
gated.
Now,
It's only the band that becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Then we'll put them up against the backstop, everyone else will, you know.
Well, that's the primary reason. We have a lot of problems down there because electricity is a huge issue. And Greg and I, we figured out a couple things that we can do for, well, now that Greg's gone, I gotta figure out how to, who's in charge of down there for shutting everything on and off?
what do you mean?
Nancy's following that one now?
Daniel's
The
electric.
irrigation.
Oh, to make sure it
Oh,
doesn't.
to
The
make-
irrigation system goes on,
Well,
power the whole
Denise will
park
still,
goes.
Denise will still schedule that, but
It's Gary Moulton, the water guy, he does
Is
that.
Gary
every
still
time.
doing
Yeah,
this
he
one?
does.
Bob's
Bob
in
is
charge
handling
of
it.
working with.
Okay. There's, and the lighting down there, obviously, we know, cause we're in limbo with the whole construction. We've talked to a couple people in town that have the portable, the big towers like we have in the firehouse so we'd probably get 3 or 4 of those, no problem this year. There's a few things, I mean, I think that we can come back with a plan in about a month. I wouldn't go 2 weeks because I'm gonna need time, cause this is my
First
season.
weekend, was it June 2nd, I think, is that the first meeting in June?
And I think
Does anybody
300
have a
was a
calendar?
high estimate, and that a
Yeah.
lot of people weren't there to drink, a lot of people just came down to eat the lobster rolls and stuff, they
Oh,
were
yeah.
not drinkers.
That
I
was-
would say tops there were
We
100
did
people
lobster
drinking.
rolls too, so I was unaware of
Pulled
this.
pork, lobster rolls, you missed it.
You know Mr. Lamontina?
Yeah.
Lamontina did one of the best setups of all times, I think, everybody was, he sold out of lobster rolls in 2 hours, he sold out of
June
pulled pork
2nd.
in under an hour and a half.
Thank you.
Really?
And I'll tell you, he's gonna double up this year, he's already excited, he's actually got a soda vendor set up for, a natural soda vendor that's local, cause that's what we do, we try to find the local people. And Mike is just, that is phenomenal cooking. I mean, they were fast, they were going out the door, so.
So that was in place of what
Did you
used
bring
to
any
happen at the
lobster rolls, just so we could?
Sample,
Make sure that-
Mr. Lamontina is probably willing to do that, trust me, he's,
The Johnny won't get them now.
I will send one.
He's gonna come down
I'll
now.
still pay.
So, Steve, June 2nd, you think you can come by?
Yeah, cause
June
we will have,
2nd,
we
I
will
work
have met
for
and
her.
everybody will
Get
have
it
seen
together and ask Nancy to get on the agenda, and I'm also gonna target that date to, I'm making this a little project on my own, I'm gonna work with Denise, and of course, I'll confer with my colleagues on the board, but I'd like to see if we can I'd like to have a proposal for the Board of Selectmen in terms of Recreation Committee, Recreation Department Committee. I saw your idea here about making it a town entity, and I've got some ideas, and I wanna see if I can get something presented by June 2nd as well, so I invite you all to come back here for that.
I'm determined, I refer that over, what I wrote
Yeah.
in there, I went to about 25 different towns, and I just
Yeah.
adopted a bunch of little pieces, put it all on a piece of paper,
Right.
and then I pass it on to
Right,
the rest.
right now, let me ask you a couple of questions on that. Right now, you're operating, you've got your own bank accounts, you've got your own tax ID, is that correct? Let me make sure I get that.
Every single one of us does, yeah.
So what you're proposing here is you wanna be a town entity?
No,
Okay. Cause you'd have to fall under
We're
IRS
under
and
youth-
DUR
we're under youth
regulations for
organization.
banks and, you know, checking accounts and all that, so what?
We're 501c3, we're self-contained, so is in baseball. The only one that isn't is rec falls underneath the town.
Okay.
We're underneath the town.
Cause we're already town
That's-
appointed.
But
And
what
that's
that says-
softball and basketball.
What that says in there is that the rec committee
Yeah,
would run, the current rec committee would set up the schedules and then report to you on the overall. That's what that's saying.
well,
That would-
but you're saying you wanna regulate all the permits, that's what I'm.
Yeah, so it would all go through, he's saying, put it all through the rec committee, so you
And
guys
then
don't
it
have to
goes-
deal with everybody coming in, you set a date, hey, by June first, if you wanna play in the fall, you have to submit all your paperwork
Yep.
to schedule the field, then you sit down with all those entities that wanna use that field, set a priority, youth sports should be first, town youth sports,
It's
then.
broken up prioritization.
Yeah, but something like that, and that way, you guys don't have 15 different people like this coming in every 2 weeks saying, hey, we wanna use this field, oh no, I got a soccer over here, I want lacrosse, and
It
then.
doesn't take away the control of the field, the final decision. It just gives you a full schedule in front of you so you can go, yep, works. That's what it's trying to do.
So you
That's
don't,
what
Not
you
trying
do
to take
through through my office.
But that doesn't make sense. You have so many other things to do with the town, and that is my opinion, but I tell you, I get a lot of people that are saying the same thing. Every single one of the youth programs are saying it.
Saying what?
We spend $15,000 in the field, and then we gotta come in for 15 different times to get the schedules fixed. Well, we could work with the rec committee, which is what the rec committee was developed and created for in most towns. They set the schedule, they come in to you, so you'd only be, the schedule would only come from them. So we'd be reporting to them, saying, this is what we need, they'll say yes or no, and then you guys get the final schedule and you just approve it. That's what I'm recommending.
Steve, I just have to comment on 15 different times, this is the first time the selectmen ever questioned one of your permits. Or two of your permits.
I gotta disagree, and I can show you via emails, numerous emails, Nancy, and this has been since January. And I also can tell you,
But
Gino
we're talking
Sensi
about
called
this
you.
year's.
Okay, then Gino Sensi called you, there's one gentleman that's on my board, he called to ask to use a field. The field was open down here, there was those two small soccer fields. He called you, and you told him you'd get back to him, he needed it that day.
And I did get back to him.
But you told him you'd get back to him
Well,
within a week.
I had to get the permits and check them, you know, I mean, I
But
can't,
what I'm
I
saying
don't
to you
have
is
it
he needed it that
memorized in
day.
my head.
Right, this is what I'm saying, is if it's with the rec committee, the schedule can go on a website, they can see it's available, they can send the request into the group that's the part of the
So let me ask
recreation.
you this, what is the sense of that, if you still have to submit it over to the selectmen to approve?
You don't have to.
No, you just
guys-
said you're
I
gonna
know.
give them a full master schedule, now all of a sudden somebody wants it short-term, last minute, you still have to get permission. That's
the
kind of a
problem we
waste
have.
of your time.
Well, that's the problem we have, we have to figure this
No,
out.
he's trying to say we'd still have that problem.
You'd still have that problem.
Just delegate the authority to the.
We could
rec
delegate the
committee.
We
authority.
can't do that, we have to maintain and manage the town property, that's in our chart, well, we don't have a charter, but it's in our role of duty to do here.
You just change the bylaw that gives
It's
the
a,
rec committee
it's a state law,
it's a s-
unless you have an elected park and recreation commission that's elected by the people, then the selectmen could give them the authority. A recreation committee appointed by the selectmen don't, under state law, can't get that authority.
So it's not really a full, I mean,
I-
everyone
I
could get
question
together
that.
and make the schedule
Well,
all together
well,
in
then
one
what's the
shot
State
and
law,
bring it
what
in.
state law is that?
I mean,
You know what-
I don't see where there's a
I
problem
believe
with
it might
having
be
everyone
chapter 40 or
collaborate
42.
and say, oh, I get to
Just
use
look
it here,
Parks
you
and
get to use it
Recreation.
here. I mean, we did that recently with Babe Ruth and
But you just told me, just to be honest, I mean, you just, a couple minutes ago, you were basically saying to me, if Babe Ruth needed the field, you're gonna kick us off. That makes no sense, we've had the field for 20 years, with that time frame.
but it's the only Babe Ruth field that
I
we have.
understand that.
You have your soccer field, you have two other ones that we gave you, you can't have everything if another group needs it, and it's their only way they can play. You
This
have to
is the issue we're
understand
in.
that.
I do understand a lot of things, but I also understand that we're the first ones to get knocked off of every single thing.
Not off Shanahan. Have you been knocked off that yet?
We spend time fighting and arguing about these.
But I'm just saying, you can't just grow your programs and not have space. we're trying to find space and we're trying to grow space, but we can't do it as fast as you're growing your teams.
We can only grow as big as the town is, and what the town decides on
But
sports
I'm
is
just
what
saying,
dictates what
we
field
can't
should
just
be
all of a
used.
sudden come up with another field, that's all I'm saying.
So if baseball's dwindling in numbers, they
But
deserve
there's still
this.
there's still kids playing
Correct.
Babe Ruth level baseball.
I understand, but
Babe
it's not
Ruth,
the same
Babe Ruth
number of
program is
players.
There's still
exploded,
people playing softball.
expanded.
The only thing we don't have is a men's size softball field. In a way, I think, somehow it would be nice if we came up with something like that. I don't know if it's gonna work, but it would be nice if we had a dual-use softball field that would work that way. Cause there's a bunch of men's leagues that wanna play,
Absolutely.
But because we don't have a field for them, we're not growing a program, that's for sure. But, we only have so much space, you know that.
Yeah.
So, is it fair that if somebody has a specific field, that they shouldn't get to play because it's scheduled to have soccer on it?
They're not being told they can't play, they're just saying that,
It's not gonna work if it's already taken.
but it's not taken all the time. That's the
Really,
thing.
that's what I'm saying, and I don't see why from 1 in the afternoon to 5:30 or 6 till it gets dark, why they can't get a couple baseball games in,
Yep.
But the ultimate is eventually, let's try and keep the soccer people on soccer fields,
Absolutely agree.
softball people on softball fields.
I think this is all gonna be null and void once that utility field is open.
I hope so. Hopefully we can get it done sooner than later.
Well, if we're gonna stay on topic, I think the board will take under advisement your proposal for the recreation committee reconfigured so it will oversee and regulate all permits. However, I'm also going to sit down with Denise and go over the laws that apply, I'm gonna do my own review on bylaws, and I hope that by June 2nd, we'll have something that the Board of Selectmen can look at.
Well, I was hoping that the rough draft that I gave you, which is what I told you on Monday when I had it in my hand,
Yeah?
would go let the rec committee make a decision whether they even wanna do that or not.
Well, you can do that by May 19th.
Yeah, we meet a week from tomorrow.
Whenever they meet, they
You
decide.
can do that by May 19th, and then June 2nd, we're getting things done. We're gonna have a decision.
Didn't
Do
we
you wanna-
just have a discussion, as we were signing all the papers here, that if people come to you, you're gonna refer them to the board? Now it looks like you've already been running a program here.
Yeah?
What are you doing?
I am gonna refer it to the board.
So why are you doing it outside the board without the board suggesting
Well,
that you go take on this role?
It's not a role, it's called community service. I'm devoting my
Again,
time to
we're the-
study something.
We're the Board of Selectmen, if you're gonna take something on, at least you should have
I'm
come.
gonna bring it to the board for a vote.
Okay, all right.
It's not gonna be my decision. Somebody has to do the research. I'm willing to put the time into it. I'd like to read the bylaws for the 4th time. I've only done it 3 times. So it'll be a matter to be brought to the board for a decision.
Okay, I got another question.
Shoot.
So our checklist applies to VZ too, so they'll know what to do with liquor licenses.
As far as, yes, I believe so. You don't?
Well,
You know what?
No,
I think that VZ is entirely different from what you're discussing here. We don't have public events where you don't know who's coming to the event. We have private events where the facility is rented for a particular purpose by a private party, and it's really up to the private party. You don't have, some committee or something that's granting this permit. It's the private party that's applying to you for a liquor permit. So I believe that it doesn't need to meet these same requirements. And I would ask that you continue with the same requirements that we've already had in place. They've worked quite well, and I don't see any need for change.
What about the Wine and Art Festival, show? You don't know who's going to that, it's going to pay, right?
Well, that may be the only exception.
Well, I think the distinction is we're not having it down where the kids play ball, it's for a better reason, an adult facility, so you're absolutely right, and as long as the safeguards are in place, such as naming the town as an additional insured with the proper limits of liability and liquor liability, I personally, as an insurance person, the town's less exposed over at Visa than they are down there once a year, So, I mean, there's no kids around, it's usually an adult event, whether it's a wedding or a reception for a birthday party or whatever, or a wine event, so I mean, I totally agree with you on that.
I just, you know, I don't believe that we can, I haven't looked at the requirements that you're
We
talking
just
about.
approved it about an hour ago, that's,
Yeah,
yeah, you weren't here.
but I don't think we can sustain that. Even the change to, you know, requiring people to buy the liquor from the traveling bartender type outfit is gonna be a hard sell. You know, it's just gonna, it's cost prohibitive for small events.
That's a state law though, we, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand, I'm just saying, I don't know how that's gonna fly. That one alone may just put us over the edge, but,
Right.
you know, if you're gonna require more detail officers or,
No,
you know.
this took into consideration that VZ is a four-walled building that can be contained by one officer for 100 people rather than two in an outdoor, you know, unwalled.
Open area.
Area, yeah. And, you know, the type of event, so that was taken into consideration. And when you get a copy of this, you'll see the difference, you know.
Yeah, the ratio of details to people at VC is less restrictive, simply because you've got four walls basically, rather than an open event and an open air event.
And what
So it's
about
not
the
like-
insurance limits?
The insurance limits are, with alcohol, are 100, 300.
That's not.
1 million, 3 million?
1 million.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
1
that's
million, 3
standard.
million,
And that's standard, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, and usually with an umbrella over it.
with an umbrella over it.
Correct.
An umbrella would apply with 500 people or more, according to the way this is written. Look,
Yeah.
can I read it? Can I read it to
Yeah, an
you?
umbrella shouldn't have limitations on this, 10 people or.
Well, we're gonna read it, for the next 2
Okay.
weeks, so.
Well,
Save
that's
yourself
Do
some
you
time
want,
tonight.
Joe, do you wanna read that section you're talking about?
No, if anybody's interested, I mean, for events, let's see, let me read, I'm not gonna read the whole thing here, hold on. In order to apply for the one-day permit, provide a certificate of insurance, with the town of Groveland named as the additional insured, in the minimum amount of 1 million for each occurrence and 3 million aggregate for both general liability and liquor liability as a precondition. For events larger than 500, must also provide an umbrella coverage that would sit over the general liability and liquor liability.
That's what our town insurance recommended, Dan.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
the limit of 500 people when the umbrella kicks in. My personal suggestion would they make them have an umbrella
Even lower?
with 50 people, just because it's to protect the town. The town's interest is first versus whoever's holding the event. I mean, just for the instance that somebody is overserved and they cause a major accident.
Sure, doesn't matter how many people
And it's
it
a
happens, it happens.
$4 million claim and the town's left paying $1 million because there's no umbrella to go over, or $2 million, excuse me, just to protect the town.
Now, what would the additional umbrella be?
It's not that much money, it really isn't. I mean, a
That's
standard
why we keep him.
liquor liability policy, you know, depending on the receipts, can be 1,500 with an umbrella, another maybe 1,200, so you're talking $2,700. But I mean, that's probably something VZ should have anyways, if they're doing this many events and
For the
pass.
whole year.
And pass the cost on to the people coming in and serving it. And they must prove their insurability as well. So not only is the vendor providing liquor liability and an umbrella coverage, but you guys are providing it as well. So now we have 2 layers of protection, the vendor and VC Park, and then the town. I know you think that's absurd.
It's not gonna work. You're putting us
I'm
out of
just-
business by doing this and telling you.
It is too much.
You don't have enough, I understand, they don't have enough events to.
Right, it's not like every weekend there's something else.
Yeah. How many events are per year?
Well, not all events are liquor events.
Right,
Sure.
that's what I meant, like.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, what, 8 to 10, right?
Yeah, it's
We'd have less.
a
Not-
small
not even
number,
that.
but, you know.
Yeah, and we're pushing it too much. The cost is,
It's already too much.
it's already too high
Hmm.
because of the police detail and the insurance.
You're
It's
not
very
competitive,
much.
I understand. You're not competitive with
No, we're not competitive.
historic places
No.
for weddings and things.
So having alcohol events on public property is really expensive.
Yes, yes.
What were you you saying, Dan, it would be 2,700 for,
If they were to get their own annual plan, you know, that's just an estimate for them. But on the same token, does the town have liquor liability insurance?
None.
No,
They don't.
everything is driven per permit.
Yeah,
We're
so
trying to
it's per-
protect
so it's-
ourselves at
it's
each
per
event.
permit.
They
so-
can't get it, you said,
Who's,
liquor liability,
the town cannot.
correct.
So I guess the suggestion would be to, whoever the vendor is, to at least have the 1 million liquor liability, 3 million aggregate with $1 million umbrella. And you guys just carry a general liability policy, which I'm sure you already have, but that liquor liability from the vendor needs the name Beasley Park
Yeah.
Association additional insured, and the town of Groveland is additional insured. And I can look at the languages on any of that and help you guys out with that, that's not a problem. But that may be a more cost-effective way. Your vendors may not like that, but tough, you come to a public place in the town of Groveland, you gotta prove that you have $1 million, 3 million on your general liability, liquor liability with $1 million umbrella over it. Maybe the town of Groveland.
Yeah, I don't think the vendor is gonna be concerned, it's more the people coming there that,
It's
what
the
they have to
renters.
end up paying.
well,
Oh,
usually the
yeah.
renters, Pam, go through traveling bartender,
Right.
if that's the name of them, Pam Jones.
Yeah.
And, they're the ones that provide the insurance to us.
And do they have the coverage adequate to it, I'd say? They
I-
probably-
only have $1 million.
I
Okay,
believe they
so
have $1 million
They
too.
probably just need to get an umbrella, just to protect the town. And I think that would solve a lot of the issues. And same for down there on Groveland Day.
Maybe you could
We
look
already
around
are
for
maxed out.
various
We know that.
bartenders
Yeah,
services.
like-
Because the two groups that we've gone through, plus the winery, have always been maxed.
Yeah, I know the TAP, I know Mercury Brewing Company, the clients of mine, they have the proper coverages for wherever they go. They're all safe certified, and they do have, some have a 2 million umbrella, some have a 5. I think the TAP has a 5, and the Mercury Brewing has a 2. So, I mean, that's pretty much,
She taught me how to do my homework, so. I did.
yeah. And I think that if you provided certificates to Nancy for those
Yeah.
events, so.
What should we do with the idea on the umbrella policy lowered below 500, since we've already voted on that?
I'm sorry?
You're suggesting umbrella
I
coverage?
think for any of the vendors, they should have at least $1 million umbrella.
No, I'm talking about the way this is written, we're asking for umbrella liability if it's 500 people or more. You're saying
I think we have to read it first.
lower that completely?
Yeah, I think it should, whoever comes in and serves liquor should have both the liquor and
So if we-
liability and an umbrella.
That's a good suggestion. What I'm saying is, we voted on it, so how should we act, if we wanted to?
You can amend it at any time.
Amend it. Shall we have, who researched this initially? Was it Denise?
Denise did.
Could we, I don't know, it's up to the chair, but we can either amend it or we can maybe have her look at it.
Well, just have her review it, and then
Review it,
maybe,
see if that's a good idea.
if Dan wouldn't mind looking at it afterwards to make sure that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I can
Looks
sit
right.
with Denise anytime she
That
wants.
would be good.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I know she's here at 6 in the morning,
Yeah,
so.
She is, are you up early?
Cause I'm at the ponds and she's here. What are you doing?
Yeah, can we still get a copy before, in between? Knowing that maybe there'll be an amendment for that one section?
Well, wouldn't that phase us, because that's the, inside the walls,
Within full.
yeah.
The umbrella? No, what are you?
No, he's
what-
saying
what
that it
is-
was, it's more so to try and look at
VZ.
what VZ's situation.
It's actually both things. It's indoor and outdoor.
Right. It's comprehensive.
That would be good if you would work with Denise and,
I can
I
give
don't
up
know,
my
I just,
copy.
why don't you write on a
I
draft?
like your shirt, by the way.
Don't you think? I don't
So
want-
you'll,
Why
just
don't
see
we write
Denise,
on it
maybe
as a
we'll have
draft?
something for the
Maybe-
next.
Yeah, whenever she's
maybe
ready,
amend
I'll
it
come meet with her.
We'll
Have
have it here in
a
about
target
5
for May
minutes.
19th next meeting?
That's fine.
If you can.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
Now, you're in the insurance business, right?
I am, 23 years.
Just kidding.
I'm trying to get in the Parks Recreation Commission, but we don't have one of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier down there than it is at my office.
Well, thank you, that's really helpful.
No problem.
This one we need to get
Expert
rid of.
witness, we need one.
The information that Denise got was in accordance with what you asked from our insurance company, the towns. So
Right.
That's what they recommended.
Yes. All right, so is that all we had? Pam, do you dare ask any more questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
This applies, I do, this applies to every